All right, folks. So we are live. We are getting started. And as we wait, Dash is here. She's doing some technical background stuff. And while we are waiting, I'm going to engage in some storytelling around some history. You know, because we're all part of history in the making, and how what is now known as Afro Resistance started. Because I was just recording this piece around Haiti. So 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 in 2004,
Mhm.
wait, Dash is here. She's doing
Sorry, I'm trying to share this. Go ahead.
So yes, so in 2004, I couldn't find. I had just arrived to Atlanta, right? Number one, I didn't know anybody, but there was a coup that was being planned in Atlanta. And I was following it, right? I was following the whole thing with La La and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to figure out who was organizing around this, right? In solidarity with the Haitian community. And then I was realizing who in the Haitian community was organizing, who or not, because there's different not all Haitian communities are created equal like any other communities. So there's also that piece, right? Um and then I was like, there has to be like immigrant like Black immigrant communities that are organizing in solidarity, because I come from I'm Panamanian, and there were a lot of people from Panama that used to be in solidarity as I was growing up with people from Haiti. And I couldn't find, and people were like, Haiti? Haiti? Really? You want to do something around Haiti? Like, people were looking at me like strange, like, los haitianos, no, tú estás loca. Nah.
Really?
Oh yeah, right? And I was just really disheartening, like people didn't want to talk about Haiti. And there were not a lot of Black people from Latin America anyways at that time in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got with, of course, the Caribbean contingent, right? I got with the Caribbean contingent, folks that were Clark Atlanta University, political science department, a lot of folks from Guadeloupe, folks from Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, so that contingent, the one person from Latin America, and a Brazilian woman, we were like, let's organize something, get it together. Da, da, da. Enters then Ajamu Baraka and Hassan Crockett, two African American professors that were working at Morehouse College. So we all get together and we're like, yeah, let's organize something around Haiti. So we organized this action around Haiti, specifically around Aristide. And then they were like, there should be like an entity that brings people together and can start really educating and advocating around the plight of Haiti. And it should be done in solidarity with Haitian. So there was a coalition around Haitians in Atlanta that we started really partnering with. But then the Latin American and Caribbean Community Center was born out of those meetings, right? And it was around like, F you all that don't want to talk about Black immigrants. F you all that don't want to talk about free trade. F you all that don't want to talk about Haiti. This organization is going to do that. And the first international guest that we hosted, I found out through Global Exchange, who partnered with us, because on their site I was like trolling. So 2004, it was AOL, right? So you had to put in this.
You had to put the
all that, right? So I find out through, once I had the subscription, that they're hosting Jesus Chucho Garcia, an Afro-Venezuelan person, right? This man and he's coming into a tour. So I contact them and I'm like, can we bring him to Atlanta? And they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And they were going to charge $300. And I was like, yes, we'll pay the $300. We had no money to pay $300. So I basically lied, because I was like, I know they're getting money too. Why do I have to pay? So then they were like, it's $300. So then he told me that they had gotten money to host him. And I was like, so he's staying at my house because I was like, he doesn't have to stay at a hotel. He can stay at my house. I spoke to him. So what is this $300 for? So we never paid up to today. And Chucho and I became really good friends. We still laugh about that. I'm like, they're never going to get this $300 from me. I'm friends with all of them now, but we still laugh. Like we in history, we're the only organization that hasn't paid the money. Of course, we're the Black organization that hasn't paid the money. Whatever. So that's how I was born. So that was what I was recording. But it was like the plight of Haiti. Haiti.
Shout out to Haiti. Shout out to Haiti.
Shout out to Haiti. Shout out to Haiti.
Independence.
Woo!
Just celebrated independence on the 1st.
Yes. Shout out to Haiti.
Yes, and a lot of folks. Yes, and a lot of folks don't know what that independence means
and what it cost. Right? What it cost.
Till this day.
This day. Shout out to Brittany, who you know it ain't a Radio Caña Negra live if Brittany ain't on the scene. Where you at, Brittany? Woo!
Well, we have Swahili in the house that's always here. Krishna is always here as well. Cristel, thank you for being here.
Hello, friends.
So, is that showing off that she downloaded the app? Is this happening?
Good, as she should.
We're collectively sharing in the joy. See that? In the joy, because we were talking about that earlier. The joy that we want to continue fellowshipping with y'all and among each other, because we're friends in real life, like as you can probably tell. If not, we're like really good actresses.
Right.
If we hated each other, like, wow.
You know, I always wanted to be an actress.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really? You know, today one of my Facebook friends, Ashley Ellis, she asked, what would you do if you had to switch careers today, right now? What would be the alternative thing that you'd be doing? And so, like, I ask you all, and those of you that are listening, write down in the chat, share with us, what would you do if you had to change careers right now and something that you don't do?
I think I would be an actress.
I agree with JV.
Really?
I'd be an actress or a beauty blogger.
I can see you. Blogger or vlogger?
Blogger.
Vlogger?
With a V.
With the V.
Yeah. I'm like, writing takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Can you imagine? Like, shout out to the OG beauty babes, the Black beauty babes like Afrobella and some of the people that started back in the day who were like one of the first ones to really be able to do Black girl beauty. And they wrote it.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I thought you were shouting us out, Emmeline. The Black woman that started off without YouTube doing our own hair.
Listen.
Because I don't even know how I made it without.
Never would have made it.
I used to go to the beauty supply store and be like opening up and smelling the thing and like.
That's the OG. That's the OG.
I still do that now. Shout out to everybody that's out here using Cream of Nature shampoo and conditioner.
Horsetail.
Horse, yes.
Mane and tail, right?
Mane and tail. That's it. Mane and tail.
You know what? I mean, imagine even further than that. How many people had a parent that would take like olive oil and egg and mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise. I was gonna say that.
Why did I even? Why?
Mayonnaise.
Woo! Mayonnaise.
That mayonnaise. Hashtag that mayonnaise.
Yes.
Did y'all ever get
pink moisturizer? Oh my god.
You took
the big giant, giant pink moisturizer?
Yes. It was
the pump always broke in our house. It always broke.
No. All pumps broke. Like, you know what? Like when everybody had like you had to bang it on your hand. Listen.
No, I remember my mom used to take out the tube.
Yes. Yep.
I used to hate having. I used to be like, and when she used to like rub it on my head, the tube itself.
I did that yesterday. I was like, Like I just banged it on my head because I was like, that's where it's gonna end up. I don't want to waste any because I don't have that much. Waste it on my hand.
Right. Slide and bang on your scalp.
The bang.
Bang, slide, slap.
Who had the idea to invent there was a soap that came out. Evelyn and I probably remember. I don't know if it's still around. I hope it's not. It was like a sudsless shampoo, and I don't know who invented that. It was probably around for like a week and a half.
I don't like sudsless. I'm still with the sulfates. I'm with the shit.
That's what I mean.
And that suds up. Like
I want the parabens. Give me the parabens.
In my house, it was around for like a week and a half, and I could not wait until it was over. And my mom was like scrubbing the shit out of my head, and I was like, "It doesn't have any foam," and she's like, "I know." And I was like, so why are you doing it so extra hard? Because my mom was already doing it hard. And she said, because I can't tell if it's coming out. And I was like, why must I suffer because you bought this?
But how many ways did we suffer, especially like with parents who were trying to get like the last little bit, or like I actually think about it all the time. Like I'm like, are baby hairs anti-black?
We were just talking about this on Instagram about the baby hair craze.
Baby hair is a black thing, right? We can agree that baby hair is a black people thing. But the idea that we gotta be groomed all the way to like the last follicle, something about that.
They don't sit right with us.
I don't know about that. I think we need to like think about. We need to have conversation about baby hairs.
You know, it's so funny. So shout out to Jules and also Jules by Jules. Like,
oh snap! Hold on, that deserves a little sound.
She is killing the game. Clay Jewels, Clay Jewels by Jules. But she tweeted a few months ago, "You don't choose baby hair choose you." And I was like, a lot of things in my life started making sense after I tweeted that, Jules. Baby hairs choose you. So stop.
I have baby hairs here too.
Maybe I'm salty because baby hairs haven't chosen me because my edge game is weak. So maybe that's my issue. Except that lately, baby hair's been looking like teenagers because they be starting from like all the way back here, and then it's like if you got too much hair to design, like if you're still looking like Genuine, you may not have baby hair, sis. It's something. You got at least toddler hairs, right? Like it's
toddler.
Crazy.
Yeah, I never had those like design hairs.
Yeah.
But you know what was to me like a little bit traumatizing. Remember the bobby pins? You know, they have the different types. The ones that you open up and you do like that.
The ones that have the pin, like
they have the, you know. But then either type that you have, they have the little tips at the end.
Oh, when the tip comes off.
But then you're sitting there. I used to sit between my mom's legs, right? And she used to be like, "Pass me the thing." And then you're looking at the ones and the balls are off. And you know,
use them.
But you know it's coming. Right. You're gonna have to use them. You're gonna have to use them.
You know, you never have a bobby pin. It's always around your whole entire house. So you have.
And the thing is, I used to be like, "Oh my God, it's coming to the front."
Oh no, cringe.
And I used to be like, Jesus Lord.
You set yourself up. You set your own self up.
I used to be like, Jesus Lord, it's coming to the front. It's gonna kill me. Blood is going to come to the front.
Yes.
Because
it's the pain. Oh my goodness.
And I used to dread it. And when it used to be, it should be like, apúrate.
Right. Hitting you on the shoulder.
Exactly. And she'll snatch it. And you know she's already tired.
And she's mad when she has to snatch it, so she's like,
and she's tired because she's dealt with the back already. So at the front, she's already tired. So it's like, ram.
Do we have the same mother? Like, what?
Oh. How many of y'all had that? Like, you know what? I remember, you know, it's so funny because there was a while that I have a cousin who used to be like the expert braider in the family. And she used to braid so tight that like I remember having welts in my legs because when it got to be and she used to have, and the worst part is that those painful styles are the ones that you love. They're popping, right? Mm-hmm. So she used to do my hair in this way that used to be like a crown. My sister too. And when she did it, it was like, oh snap. And I used to like scratch my thighs because I didn't want to complain, because then that would be the threat. You want me to stop? ¿Tú quieres que yo pare? You want me to stop? So as a way to like not sob myself into oblivion, I would just like scratch. I was harming myself, you guys. Like that was painful. But I think that there's a couple things. Brittany, the homie, mentions hot combs. Lord have mercy. Listen, hot combs from the stove too. Like like if it wasn't in the stove, you ain't living. Like the stove.
And the coconut oil. My mom used to use like either coconut oil or the hemp, and that grease melting on your scalp.
Listen, in the summer with a dress on, with an itchy dress,
sweating. I got it done in Panama. Imagine, I used to get it done in Panama by Miss Patsy. By Patsy, Miss Patsy used to do my my hair in the tropics, bitch.
But the thing is, like the message. So my mom used to get a relaxer, right? My mom used to get a relaxer. And then for special occasions, I used to press my hair. Mm-hmm. Cool. My mom used to be like, if I see you running.
Yes.
But the thing is, now I know it was a setup because the heat would have kissed up my hair anyways.
Regardless.
If I ran or if I sat still.
Yes.
So I was going to get in trouble anyways.
Right.
And the tension also, right? The tension, the nerves, the sweat that came from being tense, from not losing your press out, is tension in and of itself. Let me see. Christine in the chat, what do Spanish speakers call their hair? Tension say bulgogo. Hairballs? Like what kind of, like a bubble? Like a bubble? Like a hair, like, what are we talking about?
The couscous y piki piki? The couscous?
In the back?
Well, the couscous,
The kitchens? Is
that what you're referring to, Christelle? Like, are you talking about kitchen? Are you talking about like a hair ponytail holder? Are we talking about like just like when you comb out the hair, when you take out a bunch of hair from your comb?
When did you just chug, JP? Coconut water.
So these kids have it nice because I see my daughter. They have iPad, move it around.
Entertainment. You gotta watch novelas. You have to watch like
no, and the TV is moving. The TV is not moving.
Current affair while people did your hair. Like
the TV is not moving, and kids are playing all around you having fun. And it's like move. My mom will be like, "Muerde para acá." So you're like this.
Yeah, and jalando, pulling. I'm like,
catch my eye.
That's exactly what it is. You know what? It's funny because there's a whole generation of people that know how to use their full peripheral vision because you're like, I couldn't move because I was about to get smacked in the head, and they would smack you in the head with the comb. That's, like, get that, and you're like, so you're gonna burn your child? Yeah,
you're gonna kill your child.
Yeah.
No, I see, my mom once was like doing Ana Yanci's hair a little bit rough, right? And I'm not saying anything because I remember how I used to get treated, and I was like, that's the grandmother. So, and Ana Yanci's like, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how do I deal with this? Because I was agonizing. And Catch Gibran, abuelita, yeah. It's hurting her. And my mom looks at him. And my mom looked at him like for like a good 30 seconds. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then looks at Ana Yancy. And she didn't pull it hard, but she pulled it slowly. And she's like, does this hurt you? And Nancy's like,
aww.
And she's like, okay, I'm going to do it softer.
Oh.
And I was like,
right.
Pull it. You pull mine, pull hers. She got to be indoctrinated. Come on.
Jerry.
Jerry.
But I was like,
Jerry.
I was like, wow, maybe if my dad had said like, oh nah. Like maybe if my dad or my brother had like said something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it needed. Like, oh yeah.
Right.
La va a matar.
That's so important, Genevieve, because sometimes, like, you know, we can't fix 100% of the problems that we don't confront, right? And I think that as we move into like 2021, that story from Gibran is like a really impactful thing for us. Like, beside the question of what would you do, we know that the two of you will be actresses. What would you like? And you don't have to share, but like thinking about what do you want to confront, right? So that you can shift the outcome, if at all possible. Is there something in your life that you're like, I need to confront so that I can change the game? Because look how easily, like, all Gibran did was bring it to her attention that she was being rough. And clearly, no le gustó. Maybe she didn't like it, but she accepted it. And that's a powerful thing. So kudos to your mom for that one, because my mom would have been like, cállese, niño, and keep on pulling my hair. Let's just be clear. Shout out to mommy, though. So what do you want to confront so that you can change? So you can change the game. Like I know last year, I will share that last year, one of the things that I knew I needed to confront, not last year, but like not 2020 because 2020, but not 2019, I could project that my son was going to be going to high school. And I knew that chances were that he was going to go to a school that was going to be different than the place that he went, you know, for elementary school in terms of like, oh, he's looking at boarding schools. And so I wanted to get my finances right because I didn't want to have to send my son to a place where I was like, what's the point of him going to like a high-end school if he's having a shitty experience? Like I never wanted him. I thought about it and I was like, I don't want him to ever have to feel like, oh, somebody's buying, you know, ordering food for $10 and I can't afford it. So what do I need to do, for example, to be able to create that space for him? And like what I confronted was my own credit, y'all.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, linked to this, Evelyn, something that we did as a family, and we even did it with my partner's mother, is that we wrote letters to ourselves, and the kids each did it too. We wrote letters to our past selves for January 1st, 2020.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
shout out to our former selves from 2020. Like thank you yourselves for getting us through.
Yeah.
Yay, go us collectively.
Yes.
That was wait, where's the sound, Dash? Give it to us.
I'm trying to find
So then right? So then, and basically it was a similar question, like what did you confront in like January 1st? What did your former self have to confront to get through the year for 2020 that you hadn't thought about?
Ooh.
And one of the thing, you know, like for example, Omar, he never wanted a dog. We ended up with a dog. And the dog got sick, so we ended up at the dog hospital on top of that, right? Right. I remember, right? And we spent a lot of money that we didn't have budgeted at a dog hospital for a dog that he never wanted. Right. So, and we were all in crisis because everybody was crying that night about this dog that was really sick. And we were all like really, so that was just one example around like how much love we have for this dog that none of us expected in our lives. So that was just one that we all came together on. So yeah, so the same question, right? If our future selves were here, what do we need to confront to change the game for 2021? And that's like, we can creatively think about like, we know that we're going to be in this for a minute.
Yeah.
Right?
And even if we're not, we're forever changed. And I think that that's the other thing too, that like, you know, checking like as we start to ask ourselves the questions that are going to guide us throughout this year, like what are we telling, what does our future self already know? And also, what do we know, right? Like, what do we also, what do we want? Like today, I think, Genevieve, you asked us a beautiful question during our meeting of like, what are your goals? And I have to admit that there was a part of me that was kind of stuck with that. Like, what is my goal? Because I think that depending on how you live and your life experience, your goal has so often been survival that it doesn't even factor in that you have the opportunity or the ability or the responsibility even to be able to set a goal for yourself so that you can make it. So that was actually really, really powerful. And it was like a simple question, but it had such profound impact. Lucia mentions in the chat, my inability to make hard decisions. I sometimes go with the flow for the sake of not experiencing necessary change. Shout out to you for that share.
Correct. Yeah. So Ilcia, so let's what does that create for you then, Ilcia? What does that create in regards to the change, right? Like, what are you? Where are some of the limits for you there? Right? You sometimes go with the flow for the sake of not experiencing necessary change.
But is that the priority, right? If you don't go with the flow, then you're accepting that the change is the change that important to you if you opt to go with the flow.
All right.
And the part that says for the sake of not experiencing necessary change, is it the change that you're uncomfortable with? Which is more uncomfortable, the change or just
the not change?
Right.
The stagnation. And is there a stagnation there that is more comfortable? So, we do coaching as well, right? As Rayo Caña Negra, we do racial equity coaching. And racial equity coaching also is like life coaching. Yes, tension, and it can inhibit growth. Absolutely. Right. And a lot of some of the when we've done personal life coaching, right? One of the biggest things is like, I need a new job. I feel stuck. Right. And a lot of people, they're looking for this job, right? But they don't know what they want to do. But they're applying for jobs, but they're not getting the callbacks. And they're going for interviews, but they're not getting the jobs. And it's like, I'm overqualified for the jobs and I'm not getting them. Or I'm not maybe I'm not qualified enough. That's why I'm not getting the jobs. And I'm like, but what kind of jobs are you applying for? I'm applying for jobs that I really want them, but what kind of jobs are you applying for? Jobs that I have jobs that are similar to what I have right now, but you're not happy where you are.
Closed door blessing, girl. Sometimes you get what you need by not getting what you want.
Exactly. So why would you do, this kind of move? You're here to here. Why not just stay here?
And with the same bottle and the same outfit too. Outfit, same hairstyle.
Yeah. Why not just stay quietecita donde tú estás? Quédate tranquila. Because if you move here, you're gonna have the same issue. And my dad is amazing, because my dad is one of those men that used to be like, you date. You need to date, have fun, do that shit. But he always was clear, you're gonna have the same relationship over and over, just with different men. It's the same relationship unless you change the stuff within yourself.
Shout out to Senora Enrique. Shout out to JB's dad and mom.
Salute that man.
Right? So it's the same thing with jobs. You're gonna have the same problematic colleague that drives you insane. You're gonna end up with the same messy desk, the same 1,000 tabs open on the same messy computer. I'm not being shady because my computer
drag me right now.
My computer I have 2 computers, and both computers have 1,000 tabs open. I have the same computers on 2 different computers. Right? So it's the same thing over and over. So Ilcia, I'm with you. I haven't made that change.
We in church right now.
Listen,
Pastor JV.
Marine.
No, for real. No, I'm just over here like, yes, man.
Listen, ask Genevieve. We started with 2021. Ask Genevieve without even asking Genevieve.
Flames.
Listen.
Bitch. This is what I do. I want to be, I want to retire a life coach. This is what I want to do.
Right. Let's claim it. Don't even retire life coach. And listen, there are other people that are in the chat. That was deep, Genevieve. That was
for real. I'm like speechless. I'm like,
for real though. I'm just like, wait,
really?
Next up, we got Krishna. Krishna says, I think 2020 made me confront my need to be guarded, which kept me from fully using my voice.
We just having a full gospel. We having sermon, super service.
Let's go to Krishna now. Krishna. No, because Krishna, so when people talk, as I cough, right?
Is that you right now?
So when people are really guarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Usually, and I'm also very much into somatics and body and chakras and everything, all that kind of stuff. And I don't share a lot of these things because it's la gente. Yo soy todista. Yo me considero todista. And I don't know a little bit about a lot of things. I know a lot about a lot of things. And I read a lot. And I know a lot. And I don't share that a lot just because people think I'm bragging, but whatever. So, but when people are guarded, right? We sometimes, and I'm like that too. I'm pretty guarded until recently. I will say like the past 4 years, I've let loose, right? I've come into myself, and I'm 46. So sometimes it takes a lot of us a long time. I've met women that have come into themselves in their 60s. And I've met women that have come into themselves in their 20s, right? My daughter is 7. She's fully into herself, right? So and she might come into herself later on. But right now, I feel like she's like, wow, I'm amazed at her powerful self. So it's like different at different stages. So your voice and your throat, I used to get really sick all the time. I used to have sore throats all the time because I was guarded. And part of it, I wasn't expressing and saying what I wanted to say, but it wasn't only through my voice. It was also through my actions. I was also through my body. It was through like being really guarded and like not wanting to like express myself and like facilitation and sharing in classrooms and like not wanting to like sound smart enough and like really like muting myself. And I used to suffer through my larynx, and that's like a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put it kept me fully from using your voice. It could sound like just like a thing, but you might actually be like not fully using your voice and getting sick in your pulmonary area. In your in your respiratory and your pulmonary area, which impacts not only your pulmonary area, but also like your what is this area called here? And I have my bra on, by the way.
Ooh, yes, you better slay.
Okay. Your sternum?
No, not sternum. Evelyn, you know this.
What?
Because the area that helps with birthing.
Like the upper part of your abdomen?
Yeah. That muscle there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that area there. So yes. Anyways.
Yeah. And it's also that like, I'm glad that, for
diaphragm.
Thank you. And for, I think
there you go. Strep for years. Krishna had strep for years.
Ooh, look at that.
So Krishna, and so again, yeah, shout out to Krishna. Like our loyal, like all of y'all, like thank you so much for always rocking with us, like always. Krishna says Genevieve and I are the same. I got strep for years. I expressed myself through dance. at DTH, and Arthur Mitchell used to call me out about being shy. And in February, I had a chakra chant.
There you go.
And my throat was blocked.
I did not know any about this about Krishna.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Next case. No.
Next, Crystal.
You know what? But shout out to that. And I appreciate for those of you that are sharing and giving more insight and more background. Like, thank you for trusting us with your story. Like, that's really, that's super important. But just the idea of being able to create the space, like, what are the skills that you need to learn in order to also comfortably step into that? And then also to confront your guarded self for keeping you safe and whatever else it did for you, but also being able to thank it for showing up and thank it for being put the F down while you step into your fuller self. Because that's also really important, that it's like who you are that's not who you were, is not the entirety of who you are. And what a beautiful thing when you get to step deeper into your fullest self, which is at Radio Caña Negra what we want also, right? We talk a lot about how what separates us from other people. And a lot of it is just the idea that we step into it with our fullest selves. Like, we don't just talk the talk, and we want to make it accessible. Like, everybody has access to be happy and to experience joy and to be part of a conversation that affects us all. So I think that we had another point, right? Like, somebody else had, do you see that, Dash?
What?
While Genevieve, gets her throat clear so she can drop.
Oh yeah, Christelle said reluctance to set boundaries with people I don't like just because they've done a lot for me in the past.
Yeah. Let it go.
Let it go.
So boundaries, Christelle, boundaries are a big one. So boundaries are actually. So boundaries, and I shared something on the Rayo Cañan, like on our WhatsApp recently about the boundaries. How boundaries, the hardest boundaries to keep, are where we have our deepest weaknesses. So they have nothing to do with the other people. The boundaries that are hardest to keep for us have to deal with our insecurities, not with the other people. So I would, an invitation there is to really examine your relationship with why that boundary is weak. No, I wouldn't say weak. Why it's so malleable. Like, why it's like negotiable.
Right.
And I would say, right, when, let's see, what's a hard boundary for either you or for Dash or Evelyn? Like, what's a hard boundary that's like a non-negotiable? Like, just like, think about an outrageous hard boundary that you have.
Like, don't steal from me.
Don't steal from you.
Yeah, that's for me too.
There's no going backwards, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking of a real life example that happened.
Okay.
And that person doesn't exist to me. And it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years.
So. It's a hard boundary, right? Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, it's a non-negotiable. It's a. Mm-hmm. So you can keep a boundary, no matter who or the what or the how. Mm-hmm. So boundaries can be kept in essence. They become difficult depending on the person. So it's not like a boundary can't be kept. They become difficult depending on the person and the situation. But then that is not, so it's not about the boundary because somebody has done something. It's a boundary because of who that person is to us. But then is it because of what they've done in the past or the relationship? So the invitation there is to really examine what is the meaning that it has and the power that has over you.
And also Christelle responds back and says, that's for sure. Insecure folks because of the money they had, the power they had, and my boundaries were jiggly out of fear.
Yeah.
Right. And I think though that's also, Christelle, once again, thank you for sharing that, for being transparent with us, because that's a very real thing, right? Like just having fear and having that fear influence and impact the way that you show up in the world and who you have boundaries with. Like certainly we've all had people with whom our boundaries are porous for different reasons. And it takes some time. I think that the first step is in recognizing that they are porous boundaries with certain people, and also thinking about as you move into different places, like giving yourself more, like giving yourself time, and then thinking about how do you reinforce the things that keep your boundaries jiggly, like you said, right? So, I mean, I've shared it with Dash and Genevieve, but like a while ago at work, I can share a story that that I was basically, a set of people got promoted that I thought I was going to be promoted to, and I didn't. I was the only one that did not get promoted in that particular time. And I cannot tell you the hurt that it caused me. And I was like, I felt initially like super afraid to show up as my fullest self, because that lack of promotion made me feel like I didn't have what it took. So I was very much afraid to step into like my fullest voice. And I felt really like many things, including like offended, hurt. And then I also felt like I didn't have recourse because of the fact that I needed my job. So it wasn't like, how some people be like, oh, I just packed up my bag and went. Like that wasn't a reality for me at the time. So that also caused me to also like literally feel ill. Like I was sick for some time, like between panic attacks and just like all the things, because I felt really, really angry. And basically, long story, less long, not short, but less long. Basically what happened was that I got really strong at the things that I felt had held me back in the first time. So like I got better. Literally, like I got better at my gig. I got better at the way that I showed up in the world. And so that gave me a lot more confidence. And what ended up happening was that as I developed that confidence, my boundaries kind of became stronger and they erected in the place that I never conceptualized that they would erect, because of the fact that I was like, so for example, like if it's money, if you got more money than me, I'm gonna get my own money. So then I can say like, fuck you. And I don't need your money. And I can have those boundaries. But I think that when the boundaries were different, or like when I lived with my baby daddy and he had more financial power than I did, I was nervous to even show up in certain ways, because I'd be like, I'm not speaking to him, but if he wanted to speak to me, he paid the rent. So I would speak to him, So it was like my boundaries were like less limited, until I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to have to go hard on building up myself. And I think that goes back to Genevieve's original point, which is like, what are you healing within yourself? Mm-hmm. Because it always comes back to you, right? It always comes back to like who you are and the things that you are lacking. And so if you know that sometimes you don't even know that you're lacking something, you just are lacking it. And I think that when you confront like, what am I lacking? Then you can move into strengthening what you think you lack. Because sometimes it's also, just because you believe you lack it doesn't mean that that's true.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Right. So that piece of, I thought I was lacking something, when in reality, and then also, just to turn it back to the work, it wasn't me that was lacking. It was the perception of the person that was making the decision, which was not exactly me lacking. And I interpreted it as me lacking. And that was like such a fucking waste of time. And I wish that I could go back, not to be able, just be like, just to remind myself of like, everything is within you, sis.
Correct.
You have everything that you need to be amazing. And so you don't ever have to question or doubt your skill set or how you show up in the world, because that is so powerful. And I invite you to really look at yourself and be like, them people that I have porous boundaries around, they have nothing on me. They ain't got nothing on me. Now I feel like playing Mary J. Blige. Should I play a little Mary J? Mary J is like the patient saint, right?
I was thinking of They Ain't Got Nothing on You. Ain't got nothing on you. We got a song for everything. As you were talking, Ev, I was thinking of what you said about maybe strengthening, like when we're thinking of things that we think we may lack, and how you should suggested like in stepping into your power or into stepping into even strengthening this thing over here, I think speaks to, you know, like flexing a muscle and then you realizing, okay, wait, but that also like strengthening my core gives me better balance, for example. Like working on yourself here, the other part that you may think you're lacking just shows up in a different way that you may not have noticed before. And so I think that's also cool. I like the whole idea of self-reflection and looking within self. As Janvia was talking about her dad saying, you're going to have the same relationship over and over just with different men. It made me think of my relationship with my husband and how in the beginning, he stopped me in my tracks a few times and made me self-reflect. And I'm like, yo, the problem is me. Like, you know, like the Spider-Man meme, like, that's you, bitch. That's all you. That ain't him or the other one or the ex or high school or college. That was you.
Mm. So, Cristel, I wanna really honor you sharing and really like I want to honor your story, right, and sharing, right, in this space, right, and that violence is never okay, and that women are usually impacted by violence and fleeing, right. So I want to share, you know, I also want to like acknowledge that disproportionately we are in the situations that we are fleeing and leaving and having to rebuild over and over. So I want to name that and name that, right. And right, parallel to that, right, is that reflection as well in regards to like I'm leaving, right, this I'm fleeing a violent environment and I am on my journey to recovery. So what am I letting go of? What am I letting go of to not replicate and be in you know, and it sounds like you are doing that, right? So I really want to like give you a lot of love and encouragement
and honor your courage as a survivor.
Yes.
Right? Like honor that, because it is absolutely like it's scary to flee of a situation, right? Because like listen, the testimonies, I'm sure that it could rain down, and so and thank you for trusting us with your story, because that's such a powerful thing. And so Brittany and Ilcia in the chat also honor you and thank you as well. Like, thank you. As I feel, you know, so honored as in this work to be able to hear this and to have access to people's experience and story. Like, we don't take that lightly and for granted.
Absolutely. Thank you. So folks, we have around 15 people watching us. This is your opportunity. What do you want to confront so you can change the game? What are some of those visions for 2021 that you're creating for yourself? We have another few minutes, probably going for another 15 minutes here on Radio Caña Negra. We have our training that is coming up in February. We'll drop the links in a few seconds on the chat.
So ask away, ask us, you know, and also give us some content. Like, tell us what you would want us, what do you want to hear us talk about in 2021?
We want to organize some guests. I know we're having a grown and sexy sex toy show that Evelyn is curating for Radio Caña Negra coming up.
I'm like this.
Oh, does she have it on in?
Right. I was like,
wait, hold on. You know what? I have my bag. I'll show y'all just to give you a little bit of a quick, like a sneak peek. Shout out to Zanette from Pure Romance. So this is called a frequent flyer door swing. Uh-oh. Ask about me, boo.
You didn't tell us you had all of that? You got a swing? What is it, a harness swing to put over the door?
Yes.
How does that work? Over the door?
She's gonna do a live demo.
Yeah. Oh.
Right. I'm like, over the door. Like, how, sis?
But wait, look.
Oh, I love those things. I love.
She's also gonna do a live demo.
They're like, yeah, show us all the time.
This is so funny. So this happens to be a crotchless
full body fishnet.
Full body fishnet. Oh,
I love those things.
I
love fishnet. Fishnet in general.
Okay, fishnet is life.
Fishnet and you put it on, and also secret, or maybe it's not a secret. If you have cellulite, it doesn't show in the fishnet.
Oh,
that's been my thing. Like, hey, okay. So it like the crisscrosses, I guess, like it's an illusion, like it blends in with your cellulite or something.
Ooh.
So
let me tell you something. I could see that, because also the fabric of fishnet is also something that you could wear in like warmer climates without having to really worry about feeling so uncomfortable. But Krishna says, I heard that they are the rage. I can't tell you who told me, but a little something, spice it up in 2021. So definitely getting our fullness.
Krishna, that's how you style
body right. Our full body right. So there are, just like, like, you know what? We are centering joy and pleasure in 2021, which I think is a really powerful thing, right? What are some things that are giving y'all pleasure? I mean, besides, non-sexual things.
Or maybe his dog has got it going on.
My right here is
always like within reach. Like, why is it right there though? Like on the counter on the table? Like
I was charging it. It has a USB port.
You were like, look, after this live,
it's gonna get live. Like,
right. So, how do you style fishnets? I put fishnets on anything, like literally. But I think if you're starting out, like I heard it,
a beginner fishnet user.
I heard it's cold in the north. Can't relate. But I used to do sweater dresses to the knee and fishnets, because it's like like all covered up. And then it's a little sexy little fishnet, It
makes you look dressed up, even if you're rocking kicks. Like, it looks like a whole outfit. So if you have on some cute sneakers, some fishnet, and a sweater dress, you pop it.
I used to do that with the Converses. Have the sweater dress, the fishnets, and the Converse. Instant look.
It's a look.
3 steps.
And I used to wear fishnets with jean skirts a lot.
Oh,
mini skirts.
They look really short too.
I used to do that too.
Because also there's different types. So there's like bigger squares, like the or whatever.
But I always have to wear socks inside.
Yes, because it's uncomfortable if that thing goes between your toes. Like, but I don't even like flip flops for that very same reason. Like, I don't like shoes without an ankle wrap. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm used to running, so you know what? I can't see myself wearing mules.
And I used to have to wear like tight biker shorts underneath the fishnets too.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because it hurts too much on the butt. But now I'm more fleshy now, so that might not be the case.
No, I'm fleshy and it still hurts. I will. I'm long time fleshy. It's a something. But you know what? I can't imagine that going in your vulva. Like, because these happen to be crotchless, but like if you have like a full bodied, like if it goes in. But I wouldn't be wearing them without underwear. Okay.
What? Yeah, wear underwear.
Not the fishnets. And the fishnets that I was wearing had like the crotch area.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying it always
that would be like cut. That would be like an X-Acto knife.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like
slice your ass in half, like
but that could be like a good what is that called? Brazilian wax.
Have you had a Brazilian before?
I have.
Do you like them? Do y'all get Brazilians in the chat?
I don't like them anymore. I think I got them before I had kids, and now I think too much. I overthink it now.
I always get them. Like it's just like the norm at this point.
I think it looks like too much like a little girl.
Yeah. But then like I like when it is fuzzy a little, like a peach fuzz.
Really? Wait, Brazilian threading, Brittany?
Threading?
Is that a thing?
Threading?
Hell no, it can't be.
But I feel like at my age, it's so scarce there right now. So
really,
it didn't come back. Like the hair didn't come back.
It came back, but not bushy.
Angela says laser removal. Yes.
Wait,
I want to get it lined.
But I still can't get over Brazilian threading.
Is that a thing? No, it can't be.
It has to be the eyebrows, like a Brazilian eyebrow.
Oh, Dios mío! Like that would be all your eyebrow hair off.
No, I used to get the
threading.
The threading.
Oh. Brittany says no.
And she meant with the fishnet.
Wow. Oh my God. I was like really concerned.
I was like, wait.
I thought she meant literally go somewhere and say with the thread. It's like
threading the pussy hairs.
No. I just imagine. You know what? The last time not the last time, but like the second to last time I got a Brazilian was the first time that I felt a lot of pain with like, it was weird because when she took the hair off like near my
your booty.
No, the booty was fine. I had no problem with the booty. I had the booty is the best. I'm like, I'll turn. Like, but you know what actually hurt when she pulled the hair off of my C-section scar?
Ooh.
That was
like phantom pain.
Oh, I was like, what does Christianity have to do with this conversation? She's answering the topics. All right. She's like, let's go. I'm gonna bring it back.
Right. Yeah, because she's like, this is a little bit strange.
We talk about Brazilian thread and pussy hairs, and she's like, and the role of Jesus in Christianity.
I was like this. Good. Woo!
Only Callense would say pussy hairs and Jesus and Christianity in the same sentence.
You know what? If we recorded this, that would be the name of this podcast episode: Pussy Hairs and Jesus, and then that would just be it. Like
we've uploaded to YouTube. That's the name I'm going to put.
Yes,
they'll probably ban us somehow.
They'd be like, we gonna get all the trolls, and you know what? Oh well. Yeah, but definitely the way that the role that Christianity plays in racism, and then actually is like just yesterday I was looking at something on Instagram, and it was a point about like how there was a term that they used that I thought was really funny. I'm gonna look it up, but you know what? Like that's something to really be thinking about. See, Ilcia was thinking as we were talking, and there was that. So shout out to you, Ilcia, for getting and for giving us an extra laugh.
So let's read what Ilcia actually put as to not, frame her wrong. So Ilcia says she's answering the question, what topics would you like us to focus on in 2021? Meaning, what topics do you want Radio Caña Negra to focus on this year? And so Ilcia says the role Christianity plays in racism, how Jesus' character has been distorted to benefit the white man. And actually, we do touch on it like briefly in our workshop series in part 1 and part 2. We definitely do. And then we have part 3. And then we're also bringing some new workshops, February, March, that will be in the mix. And also the workshops from Afro-Latino Travel. So, stay tuned. We got some new stuff coming for you, coming at you. We got the FB Reading Book Club. Burp, 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 burp.
Hopefully, you know what? We should collaborate because I know that Krishna runs a book group. So maybe the Woke Women's Book Club. So maybe we can have a Radio Cañanera / Woke Women's Book Club collabo. Krishna, put in the chat what y'all reading this month. What are y'all reading? Are y'all reading anything right now?
I just got a book.
I know you were reading. You were listening to another book, an audio book that you told me about, Genevieve. How about you, Dash?
What am I reading?
Yeah.
I have like a ton of books on my Kindle. But I'm reading I'm finishing As Black as Resistance. I mentioned I was starting to read Desus and Mero's book.
You said it was good.
Yeah, it was funny, but then it was just too many male voices, so I just took a pause from reading altogether because I just maybe quit reading for a second. But actually, I was reading an essay by Leila Rodriguez, a Brazilian, a Black Brazilian activist. Javier and I were talking about how her views are exactly aligned with how ours are in terms of Blackness in Latin America and Blackness as the gold standard, right, y'all? And how I think the normativity of Blackness, like in the text that I've been reading, has been restorative. Like I want to read Black femme voices more, more than I have been, because I just feel affirmed. It's always restorative. Yeah. So that's been my thing. Angela's been reading the autobiography on Celia Cruz.
Awesome. And Alicia wants to know if we would recommend our workshops for older white people. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's welcome. Let's see. So Krishna, the Woke Women Book Club, is reading in February Why All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria. I happen to have read that book, so I am excited because I love when I'm ahead of the game of a book club. Read it! Whoop, whoop. And how can we get in contact with the Woke Women's Book Club, if that's okay, Krishna? Ilicia is reading currently Once I Was You by Maria Hinojosa and Brown Church by Robert Romero.
I'm starting to read These Ghosts Are Family by Maisie Card. So I'm starting. And I just finished reading Clap When You Land.
Oh, okay.
I just finished listening.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all doing audiobooks? I actually really appreciate an audiobook, but I don't know that I can get into a fiction audiobook. I struggle with fiction audiobooks, but I love self-help audiobooks. I'm looking for like a really good self-help book by a Black woman.
You know which one I enjoyed? What a Time to Be Alone. By audio. It was audio, and it's the Slumflower. I follow her on social media, but she has like situations of her life, and she's pretty young. She's in her early 20s, I believe. I enjoyed the book a lot. And so I'm with you, like it's hard for me to get into fiction with audio, but with like self-help or like autobiography or short stories, those are cool. And she narrates it. And so I really liked it, and it was a quick listen. So What a Time to Be Alone, I appreciated it. And she's Nigerian, so
Yeah, I appreciate I can do audiobooks because I go for like 30-40 minute walks. So I can do,
like a long chunk of listening.
Like in 10 walks I can finish a book.
Right.
And I love it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. I love that. Krishna says, I love audiobooks. I'll add the booklet in the chat after you end because she's on the phone. So that's actually pretty awesome. I'm going to have to try to step up my audiobook game. Right now, what am I reading? Y'all know I love trashy romance novels. It's my thing. I ain't even gonna lie. So right now I am reading, let me see what's in my Kindle. I downloaded a couple recently, and I'm, again, that I love to talk about the Overdrive app. Borrow books from the library, y'all, so that you can see how much you love, and if you, and also you can get authors you love placed at library systems that you have access to.
Wait, so I have a question. If I'm in Panama, can I still take advantage of library books on Overdrive?
I don't know, but you can try. I think you should.
You can try.
Yeah.
Try it out. Also, I've been into romantic films. Like I don't think I can get super into like romantic books like you have, but romantic films, like I find myself on my downtime, like looking for like love stories. And so the ones, and it's also kind of triggering for me because again, I'm going on almost a year without seeing my husband in person. But the last one that I saw was Sylvie's Love on.
What? I was about to ask about that.
I liked it. It was sweet. I watched it twice. It was sweet.
Wow.
It was really sweet.
I'm gonna have to step up my game. And so if y'all are, so Krishna says, as long as you have a library card, and you can actually secure the library card on the app currently. So you can use, there's Overdrive, but you can also use Simply Eat, that you can utilize to secure and obtain the library card while libraries are closed, at least here in New York City. But Overdrive, I think, is national. So if you have a library card in another city or another state, then you can certainly use it. It is 10:11, you guys. So we want to be able to do these more often, but probably we have to do shorter ones more frequently so that we can have stuff to talk about. So as always,
and we have our podcast.
Yes, and we have a podcast. So also, you see how Genevieve be dropping science in 2021. You know, Iyanla is retiring from Get Your Life. So now it's Genevieve's turn to give.
She's retiring?
Or she's ending the show. This is the last season they just finished.
Yeah.
So
what am I gonna do?
Girls, you gonna take over. That's all. That's what you're gonna do. You gonna have I'm like,
okay, so we need a hookup. No, because this is serious. This is serious because this is serious. Because I honestly feel like I could literally do that for families and for communities. And not only and I mean and I honestly believe that in order to transform. So, all right. So let me share something with folks here. One of my true, how do I say this? So I personally, my body has not been impacted by incarceration, but my family has been impacted by incarceration, right? And I truly believe that as a unit, as a family, right? The people that have actually been incarcerated have been able to thrive, not thrive, but have been able to move and to navigate because they have had the support of a family. And there's a support system that has come because they have been part of this specific family, of this family. But we have been impacted, right? And it has taken a toll generationally on my family. Mm-hmm. And that will continue. Not every family has had that opportunity to heal, right? And the healing is still ongoing. So and different individuals within Afro-Resistance, within the organization, have different missions, right? So when people come into Afro-Resistance and any organization, people that work in different organizations should be able to bring their full selves and to create transformations based on their personal relationships. I fully believe that. So for me, it's incarceration, right? And specifically Black women. And I honestly believe that in order to heal and transform a whole community, you have to start with a woman and a family, right? So we have a fellowship programs, and the fellows that we always the fellows, right, have been impacted by incarceration. And the fellows receive therapy and coaching and all these other things, right? And one of the things that I want to create, as I said, when I retire, and Evelyn's like, right now, even, right, is to really provide coaching services to women, Black women, that have been impacted directly by incarceration, to really, and their families, right? A la Iyanla, but it can't be just like coaching like Iyanla does, and then I don't know what support is provided afterwards, but I'm talking like scholarships and whatever they want to do, we get businesses, whatever they want to do and create, but to transform their community and their ecosystem, like, because it's beyond them, because they have been wronged. They have been wronged. This is not about them. This is about a society that has wronged us fully, and they have carried the brunt of it. So so this is where I'm like, oh my God, this is an opportunity. And it's not just me, it's like all these other coaches, like, how can we make this happen for women that have been impacted by incarceration? So anyway,
that's where, like, definitely like my RJ lens comes into play there, because part of it is like, one of the parts that we don't think about is just the reentry, right? And I don't think globally reentry programs are good.
mm-hmm.
We know how to call each other out and to make people aware of the harm that they caused, but we don't know. We're not organically trained for restoration, I don't think, right? And so really having that opportunity to be able to create avenues for reentry, and reentry that is not based on you have to feel bad about what you did for the remainder of your days.
Exactly.
Right? And it also requires a lot of the things that we talk a lot about through Radio Caña, which is like just really recognizing that we often blame individuals, for the responsibility of systems, right? We create systems where people just don't have enough, so then they have to go and steal from someone in order to be able to make ends meet. Meanwhile, the people that have more than enough for ends meet for you, all of us on this call times a trillion, they chilling. So it's like
resources,
right? Hoarding the resources, and they don't get any of the. They don't get any fever.
None of the heat. None of it.
None. So it is absolutely, and that's a thing. So Krishna says, "Whew, Black women need that now." I see it regularly in Brownsville, where women I know have been incarcerated
right now.
And the impact of incarceration, even when you're infraction, like the punishment doesn't even meet the crime, and then the longer term impact of what that individuals, families, communities, like we could go on.
But it's not. It's not even just the woman. We're talking about children who have parents incarcerated. We have teachers that say, blatantly, like, oh, her dad is in jail. Like the stigma that children carry, the stigma that grandparents carry, raising children who their children are incarcerated and they're raising their children.
Yeah, there is a program that I worked with. It's based in Bed-Stuy, and their entire thing is supporting grandparents who are raising children whose parents are incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some like a series of workshops with them a few years ago. And it was, like these people, and these are often not just like grandparents, but in many cases, they were like significantly older. Like I'm talking about, like I'm 72 years old raising a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Because because my child committed a crime. Right. And I was also really, really surprised, which was one of the other interesting things, of how many of those children were being raised by paternal grandparents.
Yeah.
In part because of the stigma. So one of the things that happened quite a bit is that, like, almost, I would say that if there were 15 parents or caregivers, at least 7, maybe 5 to 7 were actually paternal grandparents. So it was like their mother just kind of like didn't. And so that's another layer, right, of experience for the child and also for everybody.
Well, and that's another conversation.
Yeah.
The gender aspect of incarceration, women don't get the visits that men do, especially when they're in relationships. Women do not get the conjugal visit, not even conjugal, like they don't get the relationship visits that men do. They don't get the letters. They don't get the familial relationships that men do. They don't get any of those things that men do. It's very gendered. They don't get the children's visits that, like the partners in their lives do not organize as women do to make sure that their family units are alive and well. Unless their parents, meaning their mothers or their fathers are organizing it, their partners are not organizing it, and their partner's parents are not organizing it. But for the men, their partners are organizing it. Their parents are organizing it. So there's also like a very gendered aspect to an isolation that happens. It's very incarceration is a beast.
Yeah.
A beast.
It is.
I'm wondering with the male, like the male counterpart, if he's not incarcerated, what you said about how he doesn't organize. I wonder if he's then looking for because I genuinely believe a lot of men seek out women as their therapist, right? As the person that keeps their life in order, right? And so when the person that's keeping their life in order is incarcerated, they're looking for someone else to fill that role. And so they don't step up. And so again, that's a whole nother live. That's a whole nother podcast episode. But I was just thinking of that as you were talking, JV, about how once men lose their therapist, their sex slave, their maid, how they go seeking out something else or someone else to fill that void instead of pouring back into that partner that's incarcerated.
And there's a justification that comes along with them not showing up, right? It's like, well, duh, he needs company. Say that if it's a male-bodied person, right? Like, oh, they need company. Conversely, part of like the way that women, if you're in a hetero relationship, it's like you held it down. Like you didn't look for anybody else while the male-bodied person was incarcerated. If that happens, right, in a hetero relationship, it's like there's a source of pride that comes with like I didn't do anything. Meanwhile, we don't hold men to that same standard in hetero relationships. Last point before we actually get off, because you can see how we get sidetracked very easily. But Angela Molina
is it sidetracked though?
we're always where we're supposed to be.
Right.
So no sidetracks. Angela says, any thoughts on the pen pal programs for incarcerated folks?
There's a lot out there, but I don't, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of pen pal programs out there, but I do not know of any here off the top of my head like that.
Yeah. And I definitely would not I don't have any to recommend.
When I used to do Radio Diaspora, we used to have prison radio. And we used to fundraise. So we used to take calls and we used to organize that. Now prison calls are hell of expensive. Nobody talks about that. Like prison calls are hell of expensive. We're talking around $30, $35, $36, sometimes $43 for around 30-minute call. Right. So we used to fundraise so that inmates could call the radio station so that family members didn't have to pay for that. And they could actually put in a complaint if anything was happening, so people could hear it over the radio. We used to have Mumia call in a lot, but what happened as well is that parents could a lot of parents could send messages to their children, and they were recorded, and we'll play it over and over. And we used to have a podcast, so a lot of parents who were going, a lot of people that were incarcerated whose partners were not bringing their children to visit, they could at least record and their children could listen to them, and vice versa. so we could play their children, and the children could send. So we had a prison radio exchange with children and parents. That was dope. It was amazing. But it was hell of expensive. So for us to run that at Radio Diaspora, it was almost $300 a night. So imagine that.
That's wild.
Wild.
That's wild. And
wild.
All things are wild. Like the expense that it costs. So it continues to cost, right? Yeah. The cost of that person not being part of the family, the community, right, is a cost. Plus the cost of having to pay so heavily to maintain a relationship. Right? Like that's another level of cost. Christelle says, DM me, I have Rex. And Angela says, I've seen some links on IG, but the forums seem like personal ads. And that's part of the reason why I think I would be reluctant to make any type of recommendation, because it would be like Tinder probably up in this piece. And yeah, I don't know about that, sis.
But so I would check out Prison Radio. There's also Pen, which is a writing program, for an actual writing and publishing program for people that are incarcerated, that is taught by people that leave the prison the incarceration system. And we can have a show about this, right?
Yeah.
Now, the shows that we would organize around these topics would have to be well produced. They might go beyond Genevieve, Evelyn, and Dash. We are not experts on these topics. So email us radiocañanegra@gmail.com if you have people that are undeniably Black from Latin America and the Caribbean that you feel could speak about these issues. Please email us. We would love to have them as guests on our podcast or on the live. And we can take it from there, because these are issues that impact us. I do have some knowledge about these things. Like, for example, people from Latin America and the Caribbean, we do have consular rights that are always denied, because when they see us at the time of booking, they see us as Black, which we are, but they click us as African Americans, which I'm okay being, but we have consular rights. And they might take like a week, 2 weeks sometimes before they even ask us our ethnicity. And by that time, it might be too late for us to get our consular rights. And consular rights means that if we are citizens of another country, we could have gotten a lawyer assigned by that other country. Just things that we're entitled to as non-citizens.
So the protocol isn't being extended.
So just stuff to think about. All right, folks.
We have a class on Saturday. We have cocada making with Maria, Afro-Latino Travel. We'll put it on the page. And remember to follow us on social media and spread.
Yes, and look for information about the Woke Women's Book Club. Collabo with Radio Caña Negra. We're claiming it. We're speaking it into existence. We got merch coming. All the things, and sign up. Tell your aunties and uncles to sign up for our class, for our next workshop in February. And on that note, we are starting 2021 with a bang here in Radio Caña Negra, right? Also, if you have specific questions that you want us to talk at the next live, send us an email for Ask Genevieve at radiocañanegra@gmail.com. So RADIOCANA@gmail.com.
And we will see you next time. Hopefully we'll see you Saturday. Yeah. We're doing some coconut treats. Join us.
Yum.
Okay. Can you explain really fast what that is?
So Saturday, which actually January 9th is the Day of the Martyr in Panama. We are doing, Afro-Latino Travel is doing a class with Maria. She's from San Basilio de Palenque in Colombia, and she is teaching us how to make these coconut desserts. It's called cocada. The class is $15. It will put the link on our page and all our social medias, and it's Cocadas with Maria or Cocadas con Maria, and she will explain the history of these coconut treats, a little of the history of her hometown, of a settlement of self-emancipated Africans in Colombia. And she's a whole lot of fun. Maria is or really Señora Maria, you know, Miss Maria. She's traveled to Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, selling her coconut treats. And she was able to make a living and send money back to her kids in Colombia. She was able to pay their school fees, build her house, support her family by selling this. And it just the history, the joy, the love, the passion of Black women. And it's always a great time. So holler at us Saturday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that should be a lot of fun. So we'll see you then. And then and on the social media streets and the programming that we have for this year.
Awesome. So yay, we got food, listen, y'all ain't ready. It's period, Pooh. Gracias, Ilcia, por habernos acompañado. All of you have such a great, beautiful week. And hasta la próxima.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.